Hey folks, Meiro Stamm here in the studio, taking you behind the scenes on two short films, the new album, featuring scores from the movies Bread and Kisses and Outward Gate. I scored those a couple years ago with my friend Katherine Fitzgerald directing. And we're going to do two videos looking at that music. The first one today is Bread and Kisses. And Katherine came by the studio a little while ago to talk about her vision for the film. And then I'm going to take you inside a couple of the cues and just kind of break down the scenes and how I approach those musically.
Well, Bread and Kisses was a film that I did when I went back to school for a year to study screenwriting and directing, and it was also the first film that I directed that I'd actually written the script for, and it's basically about a mathematician who's trying to solve a problem, and he inadvertently ends up taking baking classes, and through doing this, eventually solves his problem. But there's also a love triangle.
Good. Not too hot, not too cold. Try. Yeast. Yeast is a living organism. It has to be treated gently, like a woman.
When we discussed the music for that, again, we wanted to use live musicians, and we talked about various arrangements, you know, and we ended up using, I think it was cello and oboe, which was really a really wonderful arrangement, you know, because the cello is like the human voice, so it has tremendous range, and then the oboe is so very different, but they worked really well together. And we also discussed, you know, incorporating mathematics. So we talked about, you know, contrapuntal music and Bach.
Mathematician.
Ah, that explains it.
It explains what?
So the idea was really to create a very simple and direct score that really highlighted the inner turmoil of our lead character. You know, on the one hand, he's got this math problem he's grappling with. On the other hand, he's in love with this woman who's in a completely different world that he's not used to at all, and how he tries to reconcile those things within himself. So here we are in the original digital performer sequence that I scored the film in. And let's have a look at the opening scene, which is where we meet our hero and I introduce his theme. And here it is without music. So he's always working, never stops, late into the night.
Thanks for coming round, Dave.
And so as Katherine mentioned, the idea was to reference Baroque music, since much of that is kind of identified with a very mathematical style of writing in terms of imitation, canons and fugues and that sort of thing, where the melodies and rhythms have to be worked out very carefully so that they interlock in a very specific way. And so what I did was I took a very simple minor arpeggio, C minor in this case, and I put it in an unusual rhythm, one that you wouldn't find normally in Baroque music, and that's 7/8. So just to give an example, if you're just counting your normal 4/4 time, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how the that arpeggio works. But in 7/8, you're missing half a beat. So there's this little skip. Oops, wrong note there, but the rhythm is correct. So this to me sort of suggested his agitated state of mind as he's trying to work through this thing. And so that's the theme in the cello, and the oboe does the same thing, just a fifth higher. And joins in imitation. You can see it here. So let's check out this same scene with the music recorded with the real instruments as in the film, and you can see on the score here we have our cello starting the subject as it's called in canonic writing, and then the oboe joins in and imitates a few bars later.
Thanks for coming round, David. I can't. What do they say? Look, it's isomorphic and automorphic.
And so that's our mathematician's theme. So here we are in the second scene, and in this cue we actually get to hear all the major themes of the film. So we have the math problem, and then we also have the first thing you'll hear in this cue, which is music for when he's out in the world. He's a bit of an awkward guy, always preoccupied with the math, and so he doesn't really relate to people very well. Always kind of speaks in clipped sentences and doesn't quite pay attention. So I wanted something not as agitated as the math theme, but still somehow a little bit, off, if you will. So that's the theme there in the cello, and that interlocks with this oboe line. We'll reference the math theme briefly, and then we are into the love theme, which is based quite directly on the opening of the very famous first movement from the first Bach cello solo suite, or solo cello suite, I should say, which is no doubt well known to many. It goes kind of like this. And I wanted to take those first few notes and reference those because I think Bach's music would be the mathematician's ideal of beauty, and that's the kind of thing that would come to his mind right away when he falls in love with this woman. So it goes... And you'll hear that at the end. So here's the scene without any music.
Not if you keep eating this crap, huh?
Oh, hello. Haven't seen you in a while.
Busy?
Black, right?
Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
And so here it is with the score. I should mention, of course, that what you're hearing on both of these scenes is just the production audio, which was later replaced. But here you'll hear the three major themes.
Not if you keep eating this crap, huh?
So there you have it, folks. The music of Bread and Kisses featured on 2 short films, now available on iTunes and CD Baby and all those kind of places. And of course, if you'd like to check out a little bit more about any of these projects, visit my website, geoharmonic.com. And then I will see you back here really soon for part 2, the music of Outward Gate. Bye.